Hello and welcome to Comicology, the show that covers the psychology, mythology, and sociology of comics and culture. By now we hope that you've seen the premiere episode of Comicology, and we want to know what you think about it. Please take the time to drop us an email giving us your thoughts, your opinions, and suggestions for the show. Email us at comicologytv@aol.com. Also, if you have a short film that you'd like to share with us and let us share with our audience, drop it by Commuter Comics at 50 West South Orange Avenue in South Orange, New Jersey, 07079. Or send us an email about it and we'll get in touch with you. Some quick news bites. In animation news, Fox TV has announced that they've renewed The Simpsons for 2 more seasons, so we have lots more fun to look forward to. Also, new episodes of South Park are now airing Wednesday nights on Comedy Central. In comics news, DC Comics 1 year later issues are selling out, and many of them are going back to second printings. Also going back to second printings from DC are Infinite Crisis 3, 4, and 5, and the Infinite Crisis Secret Files. This series is hot, and we'll talk about it more later in the show. For Marvel, the first salvo of Marvel's Civil War and the first appearance of Spider-Man's new costume in Spider-Man 529 has also sold out and has gone to both a second printing and is about to go to a third printing. This is the place to jump on for the Civil War. We'll talk about that in our next show. The theme of today's show is movement, or the illusion of movement. In film, the illusion of movement is created by running 24 frames per second through a motion picture projector. The film camera takes each one of those pictures one at a time as it's filming, and by running them together, those still pictures look like they're moving. In animation, you have to create each one of those pictures and take one single photograph of it to get the illusion of movement in animation. 3 movies this year were nominated for Academy Awards. Howl's Moving Castle, Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. This one won the Academy Award. I highly recommend it. And the one we're going to talk about today, Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride. All 3 of them are now available on DVD. Now, we had an opportunity to talk to Tim Burton, and so we sent our very own Anna Cody, along with cameraman Matt Pitkoff, out to interview them. Anna?
Hey, Jeff! It's Anna! We're here at the Virgin Megastore where we're outside and it's freezing! And we're so excited, aren't we, about seeing Tim Burton?
Yes!
Yeah, yes we are! And Jeff, just to show you what people are doing and what they are going through to kind of stay warm, I want to show you this. This is a Starbucks coffee which is actually keeping her foot warm. This is a true Tim Burton fan.
Okay, Anna, we'll check back in with you later. How about a little background information on Tim Burton? Tim Burton always loved drawing, even as a child. He attended the California Institute of the Arts and studied animation there and was awarded a fellowship to Disney. When working at Disney, he worked on The Fox and the Hound and The Black Cauldron. He also was given the green light by Disney to work on a few independent films of his own. One called Vincent, about a young boy who wants to be exactly like Vincent Price, and another called Frankenweenie, about a little boy who brings his dead dog back to life. Now, Disney didn't think either of these short films were appropriate for children, so they were never released. However, Paul Reubens got to see Frankenweenie, and that led to Tim Burton being picked to direct Pee-wee's Big Adventure, his first major hit. And Burton got tapped to direct Beetlejuice, which was another big hit. And finally, Warner Brothers entrusted him with the biggest character of them all, Batman. Batman became one of the biggest money makers of all time. And now, let's go back to Anna and see what Tim has to say. Anna?
Hi, my name is Phil. I'm 19, I'm from Boston. I came all the way here just to see Tim Burton in the freezing cold weather. And me and my friends are here. This is Allie and this is Vanessa. We're from Boston. Tim Burton, we want to see you, we want to meet you, and we want to give you a hug and take a picture with you. Thank you very much.
Jeff, we're almost there to talk to Tim Burton and get us stuff signed. So we'll keep you posted. Woohoo!
It's okay, Anna, we'll wait. Now, due to the financial success of the first 3 films that he directed, Tim Burton was green-lighted by Warner Brothers to direct any film he wanted. He chose Edward Scissorhands, a movie that was based on a childhood creation of his, and it became one of his most heartfelt and artistic achievements. The story of the social outcast has helped the film gain a huge cult following. Burton's next film was Batman Returns, and while he was filming Batman Returns, he was simultaneously working on A Nightmare Before Christmas, his very first full-length stop-motion animated film and the precursor to Corpse Bride. Then came Ed Wood, Mars Attacks, Planet of the Apes, Sleepy Hollow, and Big Fish. Just this past year, Tim Burton gave us Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and of course the film that we're recommending tonight, The Corpse Bride. Hopefully, Anna's made her way to Mr. Burton by now. Let's check back in. Anna?
Hi. Tim, we're from Comicology. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Will you talk a little bit about what you're doing next?
I'm just practicing signing my name right now, which is always helpful to keep my spelling up. Yeah.
Your work has gotten a little sweeter over the years. You want to talk about that? We love
I'm just
it.
turning into a soft... No, I mean, does it really? Because it seems about this...
It's still magical and macabre, but...
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm just turning Mr. Happy, I guess. I don't know.
What happened with Superman? Were you, like, upset about him fighting a polar bear?
I know, when I saw your shirt, I got really upset.
I know, we're sorry about that. It's my signature shirt.
Yeah, well, I can't speak, I'm so angry. Yeah. No, I mean, it was, it's finally been made, I think, so that's good.
We missed you.
Well,
And
that's
do you
all right.
read comic books?
Sometimes. At the moment, I'm not really reading anything because I just haven't had the time, but I do sometimes. Yeah, do you?
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Thank you, Anna. And now here's a little more from Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride.
What if Victor and I don't like each other?
As if that has anything to do with marriage.
They were due to be married, though they'd never before met. His parents were thrilled. Hers were filled with regret. But in a moment of panic, Victor desperately fled, and by a grave misunderstanding, married the corpse bride instead.
You may kiss the bride.
She was frightening, but beautiful, and would never be false.
Who is she?
I'm his wife.
All that she lacked was the beat of a pulse.
Maggots.
From Tim Burton, creator of The Nightmare Before Christmas,
Why go up there when people are dying to get down here?
comes a tale of wit, charm, and strife
I'm not dead.
about a timid young man
Victoria!
and the love of his life.
Sounds creepy.
Can a heart still break once it's stopped beating?
A tragic tale of romance, passion,
I feel the same.
and a murder most foul.
He's married to a corpse.
What a cutie.
You should have seen him with fur.
Tim Burton's Corpse Bride.
This is gonna be good.
The Tribeca Film Center also had an exhibit in February featuring the storyboards, the puppets, and the conceptual drawings for The Corpse Bride. Anna was there. Anna?
Hey, Jeff, we're in Tribeca. How excited are we? We're at the Tim Burton exhibit for The Corpse Bride, which is brought to you by the Tribeca Cinema Gallery and Warner Brothers Home Video.
beautiful day.
It's a rather nice day.
A day for a glorious wedding.
A rehearsal, my dear, to be perfectly clear.
A rehearsal for a glorious wedding.
Assuming nothing happens that we don't really know.
That nothing unexpected interferes with the show.
And that's why everything, every last little thing, every single tiny microscopic little thing must go.
According to plan.
Our son will be married.
According to plan.
Our family carrying elevated to the heights of society.
To the costume ball.
Hi, Jeff. I'm here with Ben Coriali, who works at the Tribeca Cinema Gallery, and he's going to talk a little bit because he heard from the animators when they moved this exhibit in. And so, Ben, are these the actual puppets that were used during the filming?
Yeah, these puppets were actually used in the animation of the film. So that means all the joints move down to their fingers. Sometimes even the expression of the puppet can change by putting like a little wrench into, the ear of the puppet. You can make it smile or change the expression in a really small way.
Wow.
Yeah.
But these were the actual ones used then. Did they all operate, do you think, by Allen Manage?
I'm not sure. I mean, I saw one of the animators was here, and he was sort of explaining a little bit about the making of the puppets, and I guess it's like a Swiss watch inside. It's like very, very intricate, and I think they all move in different ways. But
wow! And these over here, these portraits, are they actually like from the movie as well?
Yeah, those are from the set of the Everglot Mansion.
And so these are actually on the set when they made it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Everything, every last little thing, every single tiny microscopic little thing must go according to plan.
Thank you, Jeff. We've had an amazing time at the exhibit at the Tribeca Cinema Gallery. Here I am standing by and signing off with my newfound friends, the Skeleton Band. Back to you.
Thanks again, Anna. We hope to have you back here in the studio soon. Movement in comic books can sometimes occur even more slowly than stop-motion animation. It can often take months or even years for storylines to resolve in regular comic books. However, recently both DC and Marvel, the heavy hitters of the comic book industry, together responsible for over 70% of the total sales in the industry every year, have begun to make major sweeping changes in their universes. We had a chance to meet the two men in charge of steering the editorial development of both companies, Dan DiDio and Joe Quesada, and we'd like to introduce them to you now. I personally have been a DC fan all my life. Right. Love what you guys are doing with the books, and everybody says it's because of you.
Not at all.
How did you get in? Let's start. How did you get into comics? How did it start?
Actually, my background is television. I have about 20 years of TV.
Doing what?
I started in, I was at CBS for 5 years, ABC for 11. I ran an animation studio out of LA that was based in Vancouver.
Which one?
Mainframe Entertainment.
Oh, I've heard of
So
them.
what we did is I used to do publicity for the soaps,
Yeah.
and then I was the director of ABC Saturday Morning for a couple of years.
Good for you.
And then I handled development and sales and production for Mainframe Entertainment in computer animation for about 6 years.
And how did you end up at DC?
It's a bizarre serendipity, as I like to say.
Okay.
My wife and myself, my family moved back to the East Coast, and I was splitting my time between LA and New York for about had to be about 2 years or so.
Right.
And
doing
I really
the whole bi-coastal thing.
Oh yeah.
And you realized how exhausting it was.
It was extremely exhausting, and what happened ultimately for me was that I was looking for something back in the New York area, and I was meeting a friend of mine, Sandra Schwartz, who's president of Warner Brothers Animation.
Yeah.
And we're meeting for dinner, and lo and behold, sitting next to Sandra is Paul Levitz. And Sandra goes, Dan, you're looking for a job in New York. Paul, you're looking for somebody who has television experience outside of comics to come and work in comics.
Oh.
And he says, why don't you two guys talk and see what you come up with? And about 4 months later, we came up with an idea, and he created the opportunity to join DC.
So when did you start?
I started in, let's see now, it's got to be January 2002.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's been about 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, and what were the first things that you had your hand in?
First two things that I had my hand in really were the relaunches of Teen Titans. This first starting with Graduation, the relaunch of Teen Titans.
Yeah.
The launch of Outsiders.
Yeah.
And then all Superman Birthright were things that I really championed pretty much through when I first got there.
All three great hits, beautiful, and Birthright is a beautiful book.
Birthright's a really beautiful book. I knew Mark beforehand, Mark Wade. We had talked about doing a project like this in advance. Mark worked for me when I was in animation. And so it just seemed, I went to reach out to the guys I knew best with the comics experience, and we would try to figure out what are the best projects that we could come up with right from the start. And it seemed that we wanted to go with the most aggressive ideas possible to really set people on the heels to say, you know what, we're going to be trying different things here at DC Comics.
Yeah, I mean, every time I pick up a DC book now, I'm terrified. I don't know.
That's a good thing.
They're my favorite characters. I'm like, I don't know who's going to make it out of this book.
I don't know either. That's the scary part about it.
It is scary.
I'm as excited as everybody else.
It's great reading.
It is.
And I understand the sales figures are...
things are improving, but the main thing for us was that, we went with a three-pronged plan. The first part was to really understand our characters, to figure out what made them great, what made people love them, really strip them down to the core essence, what their iconic bits are, and then really set them in a contemporary tone. Then really get the talent, the right people to execute those ideas, both on the writing side and the art side. And then really, once we've established those characters, rebuilt them in the proper form, in a form that people really want to embrace and enjoy, then start to weave them together in a story that really drove, hopefully get people excited about what's going on in the DC Universe.
It's working all across the board.
And show them what the world is as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, you're tightening continuity in a way that comics has never had continuity so tight.
You know what? It's just getting ahead of the curve, getting a chance to speak to everybody. The most exciting thing is that everybody was all on the same page. They all wanted to do this. The writers themselves are talking amongst themselves. Jeff Johns, Judd Winnick, Jeff Loeb, all of those guys.
And Meltzer too.
And Meltzer,
they're
all friends. And Rutka, they're all friends. They've all talked to each other on a regular basis. They're comparing notes. They're working continuity before we even did. So what we did is we put in a much more formal structure. And then on top of that, what we did is we started to bring other writers into the mix to help populate the world around them. So it was a good, solid plan because everybody was behind it and they're all on the same message, which is great.
Yeah. Now, so right now the big thing is, of course, the Countdown Infinite Crisis with the 4 miniseries. And it's going to lead to Infinite Crisis, which you have said is going to be the worst day in the history of the DC Universe. And is that
it is if it doesn't sell well. No, it's just it's something. The idea is to say, what if everything happened all at once? What would the heroes choose to be most important to them that they have to help fix? What's more important to you? Is it a crisis in outer space? Is it a problem in my neighborhood? Is my country under siege? Is nature under attack? All these things happening at once. What's the priority? What matters? It helps define the heroes, and ultimately it creates conflict among the heroes because everybody might not have the same goals.
Exactly, and that again helps to clarify and refine them all.
Absolutely.
And the whole line is moving together.
Yes, it is.
In an amazing way. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're in a rush. We really appreciate it. Dan DiDio of DC Comics here at Wizard World, Philadelphia.
Thanks a lot. Now.
We're here talking with Joe Quesada, Editor-in-Chief of Marvel Comics. That is the correct...
Yeah, so far.
All right. And Joe, how'd you get into comics?
I actually got into comics very, very late. I read them as a kid, and then I dropped them, like a lot of kids do, at around 12 or 13 years old. And then I got back into them at around the age of 25. When somebody introduced me to Watchmen and Return of the Dark Knight. And I just felt inspired and then sort of became a huge Uber fan, spending about $40 to $60 a month on comics, which was a lot back in those days. And then eventually decided that was what I wanted to do. So then fell into comics at around the age of 28.
Well, how did you start?
I was literally... went up to Valiant Comics back when they were very, very early on and showed them my portfolio. I got hired on the spot, and I worked there for...
By Shooter?
No, by Art Nichols, who was the art director at that point. And then eventually got laid off there where they had big budget cuts. And then started to show my portfolio at DC and got hired there and never stopped working since that point.
Gotcha. And how did it end up that you got to where you are now as the editor-in-chief?
I have been very lucky and very blessed. It's just been sort of the right place at the right time. There was a point where Marvel hired me to create an imprint over there along with my partner Jimmy Palmiotti called Marvel Knights.
Yes.
And it was based on the success of that small imprint You know, when you make Daredevil sell better than Spider-Man, people tend to notice.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we did. And then I guess they basically said, look, if you could do this for these 4 books, what could you do for the whole line? And that's when I got the gig, basically.
Oh, all right. And did Kevin Smith help that at all, do you think?
Well, I'm sure, you know, writing Daredevil certainly helped that a lot. But, you know, it wasn't just that. It was also the fact that we also took 3 other books that were sort of non-starters, you know, Black Panther, Inhumans, and Punisher, and made those successful.
Put them all into the Marvel Knights line. Yeah. Now, of the work that you've done in the past, what are you the most proud of? What are the ones that stick out in your mind?
The thing the thing that I'm most proud of, unfortunately, comes out of a bad situation, which was the Heroes magazine that we put out at Marvel after 9/11.
Right.
I'm very, very proud of that because we literally constructed that thing in less than 6 weeks.
It's a beautiful book.
And we raised over $1 million. So I was very, very proud of that. And just proud of the whole comics industry in general, and especially proud of my staff at Marvel. So for me, I don't think anything will ever, you know, surpass that, and hopefully we'll never have to do it again.
Yes. And what are you working on now?
Right now, I'm finishing up Daredevil Father, which is long overdue.
And what about what's going to happen with you in the future? Are you future projects that are planned, or are you just too slammed by doing the editorial every day?
I've got some ideas of what I want to do, but you know, I'll wait and see. I'll play it by ear right now. You know, I tend to like to plan ahead and look ahead. But I also keep my cards close to the vest. So we'll
I understand. Thank you very much, Joe. I hope that we can, you know, talk to you on a regular basis.
Absolutely,
and keep track of what Marvel is doing.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate your time.
Great. Take care.
To jump on board where DC and Marvel are now, here are the books that you should be reading. First of all, Identity Crisis from DC, now collected in hardcover. Someone's killing the loved ones of the Justice League, and it's up to the members to find out who's doing it. This story leads directly into 4 miniseries that lead into DC's major event right now, Infinite Crisis. These are the 4 miniseries. The OMAC Project. Someone has stole Batman's secret spy satellite, and he's got to find out what's going on. Day of Vengeance. The Spectre is trying to wipe out all the magic in the DC universe, and the DC spellcasters have to try and stop him. Rann-Thanagar War. The sprawling space epic puts the sci-fi characters from DC to the test as every planet in the DC galaxy gets involved in the battle. And finally, Villains United. The villains form a secret society to combat the Justice League. Only 6 villains don't want to join. We call them the Secret Six. It's a battle between villains in this book, and it's just great. To jump on the sweeping changes at Marvel, start with House of M, the complete series collected now in trade paperback. The Scarlet Witch has changed the entire Marvel Universe, and it's up to the X-Men and the New Avengers to try and put a stop to it. The House of M spills over into Uncanny X-Men House of M, Spider-Man House of M, House of M, Mutopia X, Iron Man and Fantastic Four House of M, and the House of M featuring Wolverine. Together, it's a sprawling saga that changes the entire Marvel Universe, especially the lives of the X-Men. Now, if you want some movement in your own life, how about getting out of the house and trying something new? Here are a few suggestions of places to go and people to see. What we call out and about. Hawthorne High School is holding their 3rd annual Hawthorne High School Comic Convention on May 13th. For more information, just call the number on the screen. And finally, don't miss V for Vendetta, now playing in theaters everywhere. Based on the graphic novel by Alan Moore and David Lloyd, written by the Wachowski brothers, we have a trailer for you. Let's show them the clip from V for Vendetta.
I wish I wasn't afraid all the time, but I am.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
Those caught in violation of curfew will be prosecuted without leniency or exception.
It's past curfew, you know.
Gentlemen, I want this terrorist found, and I want him to understand what terror really means.
We're working on several leads. Her parents were detained when she was 12.
It was like those black bags erased them from the face of the earth.
You have one chance. You must tell us the whereabouts of Codename V.
If our own government was responsible for the deaths of 100,000 people, you really want to know? Those who are responsible will be held accountable. The time has come for you to live without fear.
I'm ready.
This country stands on the edge of oblivion.
I want everyone to remember why they need us.
Kill him.
My turn. I suddenly had this feeling that everything was connected. We're all part of it. Are we ready for it? The only verdict is vengeance.
Well, that's about it for this time around. Next time, we'll talk about the Ultimate Avengers DVD. We'll check in on DC's 1 year later and choose a side in Marvel's Civil War. Until then, my thanks to Tim Burton, Dan DiDio, and Joe Quesada. And a Comicology tip of the hat to Anna Cody, Matt Pitkoff, Colette Anad, and Joe Lewis. Thanks, everybody, and don't forget, move!
It's a beautiful day.
It's a rather nice day.
A day for a glorious wedding.
A rehearsal, my dear, to be perfectly clear.
A rehearsal for a glorious wedding.
Assuming nothing happens that we don't really know.
That nothing unexpected interferes with the show.
And that's why everything, every last little thing, every single tiny microscopic little thing must go.
According to plan.
Our son will be married.
According to